Emergency use of vaccine in India, United States election update, Chicago teachers fear teaching in person. Good evening, the time is 12:17. It is Wednesday, January 6th, and this is Courtney Conroy bringing you your WCCN Hourly News Update, Chicago's most reliable news source. This hour's message is brought to you by our sponsors at PlayStation. Play has no limits. For news around the globe, India has formally approved the emergency use of 2 COVID-19 vaccines as it prepares for one of the world's biggest inoculation drives. The drug's governmental authority gave them the green light to the jabs developed by AstraZeneca with Oxford University and by a local firm, Bharat Biotech. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called it a decisive turning point. India plans to inoculate some 300 million people on a priority list this year. Elsewhere in Pakistan, the Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for the killing of 11 coal miners in the western Pakistani province of Balochistan. They were kidnapped by militias and killed near the coal mine on Saturday. The victims were members of a minority Shia community, the Haraza, repeatedly targeted by extremists because they were followers of Shia Islam. Prime Minister Imran Khan has condemned the attack as an inhumane act of terrorism. Heading back to the States, in an extraordinary rebuke of President Donald Trump, all 10 living former secretaries of defense cautioned Sunday against any move to involve the military in pursuing claims of election fraud. They argued that it would take the country into dangerous, unlawful, and unconstitutional territory. The 10 men, both Democrats and Republicans, signed on an opinion article that implicitly questioned Trump's willingness to follow his constitutional duty to relinquish power on January 20th. For more news in our nation, Slack, the messaging service used by millions of people for work and school, suffered a global outage on Monday. This was the first day back for most people returning from the New Year's holiday. It's the latest technology glitch to show how disruptive difficulties can be when millions of people are depending on only a few services to work and go to school from during the pandemic. And hitting closer to home, more than 5,800 Chicago Public Schools educators and staff are set to return to their classrooms Monday to begin prep for in-person learning, although many teachers say they won't go back because they fear the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. During an early morning press conference, teachers from multiple CPS schools and a majority of staff said they won't head back into the buildings because they believe that the school district isn't doing enough to keep them and their students safe. And on the Health Hub, the U.S. ramped up COVID-19 vaccinations in the past few days after a slower than expected start, as 4 million Americans received shots. The government's top infectious disease expert said that President-elect Joe Biden's pledge to administer 100 million shots to the vaccine within his first 100 days in office is achievable. Your WCCN Hourly News Update will continue with sports and weather after a brief message from our sponsors. With the new PlayStation 5, our mission is to fill the world with emotion through the power of creativity and technology. When we nurture innovation, we tend to enrich and improve people's lives. We're proud of the programs and partnerships that have inspired many U.S. citizens, as well as the thousands Sony employees. Those who have given generously of themselves who also support our goals. PlayStation. Play has no limits. Moving on to the world of sports, in college basketball, the 5th-ranked Houston team defeated the SMU in a well-deserved win. The Northwestern team lost to what was almost a 20-point deficit to the number 16th-ranked school in the nation, the University of Michigan. Ohio State lost their third game this season to the University of Minnesota with a final score of 77-60. And finally, a score that cut close to the wire. Army won in a tight game with Colgate 75-73. Now for your local WCCN Hourly News forecast for the week. Today we're experiencing some unseasonably mild January weather, with a few peaks of sunshine and a feel for 39 degrees. The temperatures throughout the week linger in the mid-30s, so if you made a New Year's resolution to get fit, get outside tomorrow, because Thursday is the warmest day of the week at 35 degrees. Grab a jacket this weekend because there's a chance of some light flurries. But let's celebrate this unwinter-like weather as we finally head into a new year. That concludes today's WCCN Hourly News Update, brought to you by our sponsors at PlayStation. Play has no limits. The time is now 12:21, and this is Courtney Conroy signing off and wishing you a safe and spectacular evening.